The courtroom was almost empty, the kind of silence that settled only in hearings no one cared to witness. Judge Clarissa Monroe adjusted the microphone with a soft click that echoed through the room, drawing eyes to her bench. Sunlight streamed in through the tall windows, slicing across the polished wood floor and catching dust motes midair. She straightened her robe, composed and poised as always. At the left table, Dana Prescott, the overworked social worker, clutched her manila folder with exhaustion shadowing her eyes. Opposite her, defense attorney Howard Jenkins tugged at his collar. Neither of them could have guessed that this hearing would become the most unforgettable moment of their careers. Clarissa looked down at the girl, seated alone. A foster child, just 11 years old. Her name was Ayanna Blue. Her hands were folded in her lap, tiny fingers curled together so tightly they trembled. Her dark skin shimmered under the sunlight, her braids glinting with multicolored beads that clicked softly when she moved. But Ayanna didn't move much. Clarissa read from the file before her. Case number 29, FC 1082. In re, Ayanna Blue. This is a scheduled review hearing to determine continuation of foster care placement and to discuss any progress toward reunification. Dana began speaking, her voice low and mechanical, reciting Ayanna's painful history. 3 failed placements in just over a year. A mother still in court-ordered rehab. No father listed. Reports of nightmares, a withdrawal, but also of drawings, imagination, stories Ayanna told herself when the world offered none. Clarissa nodded, already familiar with the file. She had read it 3 times the night before. There had been something about the child that tugged at her, something she couldn't quite name. When Dana finished, Clarissa asked gently, "Ayanna, is there anything you'd like to say today?" The room stilled. Ayanna didn't lift her eyes. Clarissa waited. And then, almost inaudibly, Ayanna whispered, "You're my mom." Silence fell like a bomb. Dana gasped. Howard blinked and shifted. The court reporter's fingers froze above the keys. Clarissa's face went pale. The robe, the bench, the air all of it disappeared. It was 22 years ago again. She was 19. She was scared, pregnant, alone. She'd given birth in a charity hospital, sobbing into her pillow. And when the moment came, when the social worker reached out her arms, Clarissa had let go. She told herself it was the right thing. That love, real love, meant giving the child a chance. She hadn't spoken of that day since. In her chambers, Clarissa sank into her chair, shaking. She opened the drawer, pulled out a yellowing photograph, her only relic. A newborn, swaddled, unnamed. The nurse had let her hold the child for just 10 minutes. And now that child sat in her courtroom. She called Richard, an old friend in child services. "I need a favor," she said, voice cracking. "Confidential. I need information on Ayanna Blue." Richard sighed. "Clary, I can't." "It's her," she said. "I think. It's her." Hours later, a manila envelope arrived. Inside, birth records, sealed adoption forms, a blurred name beneath redacted in Clarissa Monroe. The ground shifted under her feet. She couldn't preside over the case. She recused herself, but she didn't disappear. She volunteered at the after-school program where Ayanna went. Not as Judge Monroe, just Clarissa. She read books aloud, helped with snacks. She watched Ayanna draw. The girl liked creatures with wings uneven, mismatched wings. "That one's called Flutterbug," Ayanna said one day. "She's clumsy, but she always finds her way." Clarissa smiled. "She's beautiful." Ayanna frowned. "She's alone." Another day, Ayanna showed her a drawing of a woman with long hair holding a child's hand. "Who's that?" Clarissa asked. "My real mom," Ayanna said quietly. "I see her in my dreams." Clarissa's heart fractured. Then came the leak. Someone discovered the sealed record. The media exploded. "Judge Monroe, abandoned child," the headline screamed. Ayanna was terrified. Clarissa found her huddled in her group home, shaking. "They say you didn't want me," Ayanna sobbed. Clarissa held her. "That's not true. I didn't know how. I was so young. But I never stopped thinking about you." The court summoned a special hearing. Clarissa appeared, not as a judge, but as a mother. She confessed everything. On record. On camera. Yes, she said. Ayanna Blue is my daughter. I was a scared girl. I thought I was doing the right thing. But I was wrong. I want to make it right. The judge presiding nodded solemnly. Would you submit to a DNA test, psychological evaluation, and home study? Clarissa nodded, tears streaking her face. Yes. Anything. Weeks passed. Interviews. Therapists. Reports. Then came the ruling. Temporary custody awarded to MS. Clarissa Monroe pending final evaluation. Ayanna squeezed her hand tightly. Their first night together was awkward. Ayanna's room was full of unpacked boxes. But Clarissa sat at her bedside and sang a lullaby. Off-key. Broken. Honest. Ayanna whispered again. Months passed. Slowly, Ayanna smiled more. Talk more. Her nightmares faded. Her drawings now showed families' real ones. Clarissa adjusted her work. She kept fighting for justice. But now she fought for it knowing what it truly meant. Years later, at Clarissa's Supreme Court confirmation, as she stood beneath the dome, hand raised, she looked into the crowd and found Ayanna. No longer a quiet girl with trembling hands, but a confident young woman, proud and radiant. Their eyes met. Clarissa spoke the oath, not just as a justice, as a mother, as someone who had found redemption and love. At last,